So, welcome again. Welcome to this virtual mic, open mic series on this World Book Day. Let me welcome all the authors here. So, let me welcome first Anupma Jain over here. Anupma Jain, she writes for both children and adults. She is the author of 5 well-received books and 13 anthologies across genres. Her one of the book is also a Limca Book Record holder as India's first composite novel. She's also an acclaimed community builder, mentor, educator, creative writing consultant at a leading school and multi-award winning blogger across various coveted forums. So welcome Anupma.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aparna, for having me over here. It
Thank
means a
you.
lot.
It means a lot for me as well. I know you're in Hyderabad and there's something happening in their family. And then you said yes to me.
Yeah.
It's really very, I'm really thankful to you. Thank you.
I can say no to you.
So next in line, we have Akansha Ajay Kumar. Akansha, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Akansha is a fun-loving person, an interior designer by profession. She is the founder of a studio Zero Six. Zero Six is a total interior solutions firm, and she's Lucknow-based, but she works pan-India. She's also the budding author. Her book, Bed Number 16, just got published recently, and this book is dedicated to her father. This book shows the love and bond which a father and daughter shares with each other. Thank you, thank you, Akansha, for coming over here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Deepthi Menon. Deepthi Menon has always loved the written word. She began to write at the age of 10 and was lucky enough to have traveled around the country, being an army kid and later an army wife. Her experiences during those years helped hone her interest and her flair for writing. January 1st, 2024 started the new year off with a bang as Deepti's fourth book in the Shadow series titled The Web of Shadows was released. So welcome Deepti to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Aparna.
Next we have Kirti. Let me just, Kirti, are you there? Yeah, she's
Hello.
there. Let's take her on stage. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi Kirti, welcome.
Thank you.
So Kirti is a postgraduate in English literature with 3 books to her name. She has been writing since the age of 19. Her latest release is Where the Moon Meets the Sun, a poetry book. She has written 2 fiction novels and one poetry book. So welcome,
Wow.
Kirti.
Thank you.
So let me take Preeti. I'll move you to the backstage. I'll take Pragya on stage. So welcome, Pragya.
Hi.
So Pragya Pathak is MBA in HR. After working for some top animation companies, she decided to follow her passion and became a full-time artist and a writer. She has launched her own studio, The Lefty Pisces, for home decor and tribal art. She has recently published her first book, which is the title is very interesting. Good Girls Don't Kiss. She has also won a multi-patent Miss India Curvy 2020 and dabbled in acting too. In short, she
Wow.
sees it and she achieves it. That's a motto of life.
Wow.
Welcome, Pragya, to this show.
Thank you. Thank you.
And last but not the least, we have just a moment, Dr. Ruby Gupta over here. Yeah, I'll just take you on stage. Okay, so Pragya, I'm taking you off right now. Right? I take Dr. Ruby Gupta on stage. Yes. So, welcome Dr. Ruby Gupta over here. Dr. Ruby
Thank
Gupta is an award winning, best selling author who initially chose to study science, then switched to creative writing. Dabbled in journalism, and she was awarded 2 gold medals for English literature, earned a PhD, and thereafter joined the world of academics. She was honored as an international writer in residence at the International Agatha Christie Festival in Torquay, Devon, England in September 2022. A conspiracy thriller, The Secret of Lifing Pagoda, was unveiled at this fest. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing these words incorrectly.
No, they are Chinese. So
Okay.
it's okay.
All right. She's an awardee of the GSE as Cultural Ambassador for USA by Rotary International. She is also the recipient of the Pratibha Samman Award for Journalism. So, welcome everybody, and it's such a pleasure to see such beautiful authors with great experience and very good backgrounds also. So, let me just start the like what we'll do today. We, as I've already discussed with you, we will all the authors will read an excerpt from your published book. The time limit is 3 minutes, 2 minutes. Sorry, प्रीति will correct me. Oh, मैं तुम्हें 2 मिनट कहा था, आपने 3 मिनट बोला. So it's 2 minutes for every excerpt. So you'll read about your any excerpt from your book, and then everybody will go. I'll just take out names, and then you will come in to read about it. And after that, we'll discuss. There'll be a discussion on the book Becoming, which is written by Michelle Obama. That Preeti will take care of it. Preeti is actually a very strong team member of Women Shine. She's backstage, but I really want to tell about her. She is a multifaceted person. She's an author, writer, blogger. There's so many things in her kitty. Plus, she interviews people. She, counsels autistic parents. She's a lovely person. She's always there to support Women Shine when it comes to author, book, anything concerning with literature and books. She is there for me. So thank you, Preeti, so much for your help. So now I will start with first Anupma Jain. You can take out some book of yours. Take any excerpt and just read out over here.
Thank you, Aparna. She knows in what a personal pickle I am in, and that's why she's allowed me the leeway to read my little excerpt. And if I'm allowed to scoot up a little bit later. Thank you for being so kind, and it is my pleasure to be amongst such esteemed authors. It is so humbling to learn that ladies have achieved so much, and they come from such diverse backgrounds. Here I present a little excerpt from I don't know if you can see, this is the latest book. It's the sequel to my first novel. So this has also done well. I don't want to waste time talking about what it has done, but both the books talk about a character called Padma. Padma, Padma Lakshmi, a South Indian like me, and who comes to the village from a native town to the big bad city, and the transformation, the metamorphosis that she undergoes. That was captured in part one. The part two talks about the problems of a modern marriage. So I'm going to, as a typical NCR person where weddings are huge, so this book contains two marriages. So I'm going to talk about one wedding celebration here. Finally, the wedding day was upon the waiting. It was that sort of a day where new romances were sure to be made. It was a fine wintry afternoon with the perfect temperature. The ladies could show off their gleaming backs and necklines without any fear of catching the chills. Not that freezing weather would have been a style deterrent. Everybody from the NCR knows when it is the peak winter and the ladies are in their itsy bitsy blouses and the temperatures aren't any botheration there. The banquet hall had been done in dazzling white with specks of burnt orange and deep blue, the confluence of colors of the groom and the bride's wedding attires, the shining silks, bright designs, and happy conversations and lilting laughs made it a beautiful setting for the ensuing wedding. There was a three-tiered wedding cake and mounds of food cutting across cuisines in one corner and a packed champagne corner in the other end. A very shocked pujari, intent upon making his holy presence felt, performed a highly audible Shanti Puja in front of the Havan Kund in the third corner with a couple of guests as attendees. Champagne flowed like water because it had more followers than the puja. A dance floor with a live band was in the works in the last corner for the grooving. As the guests settled in, Joe and Rohit walked in, holding hands. Joe was ethereal, while Rohit was radiant and dapper. It was time for the vows. Joe went first. Dearest Ro, I promise to understand your choice of music and your need to drive at 60 kmph even though our SUV can rev up to 120 kmph easily. As I say often, I can live without you, but I never ever want to because you always have the answers to my questions, however banal and silly they are. Plus the added bonus of never a no in your lexicon. I also promise to share the remote control of not just the TV but also of my life in general with you, once in a while, if I may add. I promise to love you in health and sickness, in words and dreams, in highs and lows, and even during the cricket season, and take you to be my lawfully wedded husband. Love is forever mine, forever thine, forever ours, from this day onwards. As a huge round of applause, whistles, and catcalls rent the air, Joe hugged Rohit after his mock salute. After gesticulating the crowd to settle down, Rohit took out a piece of paper from his sherwani, looked at it, crumpled it, and threw it away. He then started speaking haltingly. My dearest Joe, I cannot thank you enough for coming into my life. As long as I live, I hope to be the one for you. Dharmecha, Ardhecha, Kamecha, Mokshecha. Nati Charami, Nati Charami, Nati Charami. To us, Joe smothered Ro and they were declared man and wife. As the Ramashya celebrations began, Joe's dad wept copiously asking for the newlyweds' forgiveness. The wedding trended on Insta with tags like Joro the wedding, Rojo forever. It was a grand success. As stunningly put out Padma, in cream and gold saw Rohit and Joe mature love in person. She felt genuinely happy for the newly minted official couple, learning a few lessons of her own about life, love, and men in general. The importance of trust and communication and friendship in a strong marriage. Varun trusted her implicitly. They were friends without benefits, though, and yes, communication was a bit iffy. Varun still didn't have a no in his lexicon. Padma now rediscovered the true worth of a man, albeit with some blemishes that needed some serious course correction. Well, that could be worked upon. She would get down to rechiseling her man according to her needs. Varun hopefully would be game too. And if need be, bring the necessary changes in her too after due consultations with her husband. Just a tad bit though, because Varun too deserved his take on their marriage, however stinging that opinion was. Because a good marriage matured with age, just like great wine, complex but mellow. So
Beautiful.
this is the excerpt.
Lovely, lovely. Very
Beautiful.
nice. Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Very nice. Very nice.
Beautiful. Love the humor. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Lovely.
You really write so well. We've been following you on Facebook and all. It's really good to really see your books. Very nice.
Thank
the
you so much,
the
Apam.
title of the books also they were also very interesting.
Yeah, the first one was when Padma Bani Paula, and
Yeah.
the second one was Padma Bani Wifey. Now I
Uh,
have the third one in the head. Hopefully someday it will come out on paper.
okay. Padma
Yeah.
became wifey. Okay. Thank you so much, Anupma. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank
So
you
now
for
we
having
have,
me.
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So now we have Akansha. Akansha, you may take out your book and please read
Yes.
some excerpts from the book.
So my book name is Bad Number Sola. Uh, it is a story about father-daughter bond. So by profession, I am an interior designer and कभी लिखने से कोई वास्ता नहीं था मेरा. लिखाई दूर दूर तक नहीं थी, बट ओवर थिंकर हूँ मैं. तो जब तो एक किताब लिखी थी पिताजी के लिए, तो मैं स्टार्ट करती हूँ. जीवन में कभी अचानक कुछ ऐसा हो जाता है जिसका असर एक लंबे समय तक आपके जीवन को प्रभावित करता है. मेरे साथ भी कुछ ऐसा ही हुआ था. आईसीयू के अंदर से एक चीखती हुई आवाज आई कि बेड नंबर 16 की मरीज की बेटी को बुलाएं. लेकिन बेटी कहाँ थी बेटी? लेकिन विडंबना तो देखिए, जिस बेटी को ढूंढा जा रहा था वो कहीं नजर नहीं आ रही थी, और जिस बेटी को ढूंढा जा रहा था वो थी मैं. मेरा नाम रुचि, और मैं इस बात से अनजान कि आईसीयू से उसे कोई आवाज दे रहा है, और वो वहां से 10 किलोमीटर दूर बैठकर यह सोच रही थी कि ऐसा क्या करूं कि पापा को बचा लूं। तो ये 3 दिन की कहानी है जिसमें बेटी मशक्कत कर रही है अपने पिताजी को बचाने के लिए, और पिताजी आईसीयू के बेड नंबर 16 पे जिंदगी और मौत से जूझ रहे हैं। इसका एक बहुत ही अच्छा पिताजी का एक है कि मेरे पापा कभी झूठ नहीं बोलते थे। डॉक्टर ने पापा को बुलाया और कहा कि पीते हो, तो मैंने सोचा कि झूठ बोल देती हूँ, और मैंने डॉक्टर से कहा कि हाँ कभी कभी पीते हैं, रोज नहीं पीते। डॉक्टर ने पिताजी की तरफ देखा और कहा, तो पापा धीरे से मुस्कुराए और बोले, जी हाँ रोज पीते हैं, अभी 2 दिन पहले ही पिए थे। और मैं पापा को ऐसे घूर के देखा कि इतना सच बोलने की क्या जरूरत थी, थोड़ा चुप नहीं रह सकते थे, डॉक्टर के सामने चुप ही रह जाते। बट पिताजी कभी झूठ नहीं बोलते थे, और ये चीज मैंने उनसे सीखी है कि वो बहुत कम दुनिया में ऐसे लोग होते हैं कि जो जैसे हो वैसे ही आपको प्रेजेंट करते हो।
हाँ,
तो बस ये 2 मिनट दिए हैं मुझे अपर्णा जी ने बोलने के लिए, तो मैं
अभी
इतना ही
है,
बोलूंगी
बहुत टाइम
कि
है, 2
पिताजी।
मिनट बहुत होता है।
अच्छा हाँ, 2 मिनट बहुत है। अच्छा, तो डॉक्टर ने कहा कि पापा की तरफ देखा, और मेरे भोले पापा ने कहा, हाँ डॉक्टर साहब पीते हैं, अभी 4 दिन पहले ही पिए थे। मेरे पापा कभी झूठ नहीं बोलते थे, या शायद बोला भी हो तो कभी ऐसा झूठ जिससे किसी को कोई नुकसान ना हो। जैसे ही पापा ने डॉक्टर को बताया, मैं पापा का मुंह देख रही थी, क्या जरूरत थी इतना सच बोलने की, थोड़ा चुप भी तो रह सकते थे। उन्होंने सब सब कुछ डॉक्टर को बताया। डॉक्टर ने मुझे देखा, फिर पापा को देखा और मुस्कुराए। उन्होंने कहा कि एडमिट करके सारे टेस्ट करवाते हैं, अभी कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा, अभी थोड़े दिन पहले ही टेस्ट हुए थे, तब तो सब सही था, पर मैंने कहा टेस्ट हो जाने दो। तो डॉक्टर ने पापा को आईसीयू में एडमिट किया, एक प्राइवेट रूम में एडमिट किया और ड्रिप चढ़ाने लगी। जब पापा को ड्रिप चढ़ रहे थे, इतने में मेरे एक मौसा जी आ गए। मौसा जी ने जैसे ही पापा को देखा और कहा, मौसा जी मेरे पापा को गुरु कहते थे। उन्होंने कहा, गुरु आज भी आपका बॉटल से नाता टूटा नहीं है, डेली दूसरी बॉटल होती थी, आज आपके पास ग्लूकोज की बॉटल है, बॉटल आपका पीछा नहीं छोड़ रही है। तो बस ऐसे ही बहुत लंबी स्टोरी हो जाएगी, अब भी ऐसा कुछ है नहीं कि मैं छोटा सा पढ़ पाऊं। तो बस इतना ही मैं बोलना चाहूंगी कि स्टोरी यही है। और अंत में एक ये है कि मेरे पापा का मूल मंत्र यही था, यत्र तत्र सर्वत्र। उनकी वाणी का ही प्रभाव था कि वे सबके लिए प्रिय थे, सम्मानीय थे, और निस्वार्थ भाव से इंसान में ही भगवान का रूप देखा करते थे। सुखी परिवार, सीमित परिवार को भी महत्व दिया, आधुनिक चकाचौंध से कोसों दूर रहकर स्वयं को हमेशा आत्म अनुशासित रखा। प्रभु श्री राम में अटूट आस्था रखने वाले मेरे पिताजी खुशी खुशी इस दुनिया से चले गए, सभी नजदीकियों को क्रंदन करने के लिए विवश कर गए। जीवन का सत्य यही है, जो आया है उसे एक दिन जाना ही होगा, मृत्यु ही अटल सत्य है। बस यही एक कहानी है बेड नंबर 16 की।
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Akansha. By the way, for everyone, she's an interior designer. And उसके बाद भी इतना बढ़िया लिखना, ये मुझे लगता है आजकल, आई थिंक प्रीति, विद द एडवेंट ऑफ सोशल मीडिया, ये हमारी
Yeah.
क्रिएटिव सब निकल के बाहर आने लगे हैं, है ना? तो आई थिंक
सभी
बिल्कुल।
राइटर्स हैं, एंड आई
हाँ,
थिंक डे टू डे जो भी होता है, आई थिंक उसको everybody is taking out from either poetry या writing. So she's
yeah,
done the same. Whether you are an interior designer or you're something,
yeah,
सब
हाँ,
लोग every day to day जो भी उनके
yeah,
साथ गुजरता है, that is coming out beautiful.
मुझे लगता है कि सबकी कहानी होती है, कहानी तो सभी के पास है,
Exactly.
कोई
correct.
एक्सप्रेस कर पाते हैं, कोई एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पाते
हाँ,
हैं।
सही बिल्कुल सही.
right. That is
Absolutely.
absolutely true. Thank you so
True,
much,
true.
Akansha. Thank you.
Very nice. Beautiful.
थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सो
Yeah.
मच।
So now we have Deepti Menon. Deepti, I'll take you to the stage. Akansha में तो backstage में जा रही हूँ. Hi, Deepti.
Hello.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, would really like to hear something good from your books.
Actually, I think everybody knows, I'm a thriller writer, and
Yes.
my first book was called Shadow in the Mirror. This was by Readomania, and now this actually is the fourth book. It's called The Web of Shadows. And this is my ninth solo book. And but in this series, it is the fourth book, The Shadow. They call me a shadow writer. And the reason, you will know when you read my books, you will know, because my stories are all shadowy and a little scary, and people kind of find it difficult to sleep at night when they read my stories. So, so I'm just going to read a little extract from The Web of Shadows. This is my latest book. It came out on January 1st this year, and this is a book that is between Kerala and Mumbai. So it veers between a brothel in Mumbai, run by a madam, a very forbidding madam, yes, and a family, a very powerful family in Kerala, which used to deal with tantra, the tantric arts. So it's a kind of a mix between the two, and that's so. Now I'm just reading out an extract, which is part of the brothel in Mumbai. So it goes this way. Madam sat in her boudoir, forbidding as ever. Nothing ruffled her, for she was used to these raids. The brothel is being raided by the police for a certain reason. So many policemen had come and gone. Her rooms had been ransacked so often. Yet, after the stink had died down and the story forgotten, she would get her regulars to redo the rooms, reinstall the cameras, and the whole cycle would start all over again. Madam, what do you have to say about this sudden death? Gokhale asked. He was the constable in charge, and he needed to tread warily. His superiors had warned him not to ruffle Madam's feathers. She was highly influential and could get all of them transferred with one flick of her bejeweled fingers. Young man, has anyone told you how handsome you are? She purred as Gokhale blushed crimson. You should be in movies. Thank you, madam, he stuttered. You need to tell me about the young girl who was working for you. How did she die? Madam smiled, her eyes crinkling in malice. That young girl was a wonderful dancer. She came from a small village in Kerala, all the way from the south. Can you imagine? Beautiful she was. Her eyes turned reflective. And the young man had no idea that he was being played like an instrument. I loved her like my own daughter. When she first came, she was shy and beautiful. We loved to watch her dance. She was a natural. Maybe it was the vulnerability in her that attracted the protective instincts of the men who watched her dance. Not one of them wanted to break through it or harm her in any way. And yet, she's dead, the young man said slyly, almost in a whisper. Madam's face changed. It was as if he was watching a movie. Her eyes turned into pinpoints of rage, her face flushed, and there was an aura of menace that suddenly enveloped her. Gone was the benign grace, the gentleness. Her voice came out like a pistol shot, as harsh as he shuddered for a moment. What are you suggesting, young man? That we killed her? How dare you make such insinuations? I could have you removed from Mumbai forever, you know. Every word was crystal clear, vindictive, and he knew that he was treading on thin ice. He tried to retrace his steps, knowing that every word he spoke could land him in further danger. I'm sorry, madam, that wasn't what I meant at all. I was merely stating a fact. My superiors wanted me to find out all I could about the case. Madam smiled. Her lips constricted to a cruel line which was more frightening than her ire. Go and tell them what you have found. The girl was loved by all. However, she had a streak of mental instability. Maybe she was bipolar, as she suffered from terrible mood swings. Go tell your superiors that she had no enemies here. We are like a happy family. Her eyes raked his nervous face. That evening, when she died, she was in a melancholic mood. Her friends tried to cheer her up, but she did not care to listen to them. She was like a butterfly, flitting from man to man on the dance floor. However, by the end of the evening, she had disappeared. No one knows how she got away or where she had gone, that is the last we saw of her. Madame leaned towards him. The aura of menace seemed to loom around her, as the room suddenly seemed smaller, almost suffocating him. Her red lips curved in a malicious smile as she intoned, "That is your story, young man. Make it believable." She clapped her hands suddenly. Gokhale started, his head whirling. In a trice, the door opened and Ahmed sidled in as quiet as a shadow. "Ahmed, take this handsome young man back to the lobby. He knows exactly what happened here. He will make his report accordingly." Ahmed bowed and Gokhale stood up abruptly. At the moment, all he wanted to do was get out of that dreadful room where Madame sat like the giant strategist she was. As he stumbled out, his police training having deserted him for the moment, he could hear Madame's raucous laugh behind him. Thank you.
I thought there was more to it. I'm still waiting.
There's plenty more. There's plenty more. But then that's all in the book.
My God. So eerie kind. बिल्कुल, and her adjectives and everything so eerie. I was thinking,
Preeti, that's the biggest compliment you can pay me.
okay, it was. I was listening with rapt attention. कि अभी क्या होने वाला है?
Yeah, exactly.
Convert it to a movie. It'll become like a horror movie.
Oh my!
What?
And as it is, these days there's so many web series which are made on such kind of. So some director, one fine day he will come to you. He said, "Madam, I want to make a movie on your books."
Arey Baba, you ghee
No,
shakkar
you
in your
should-
mouth.
you should
Aparna,
think
ghee
about it.
shakkar.
Nana, you should think about it. कमाल का है. The way she was describing it, I don't know when she must have written it. तो कैसा होगा? I'm still thinking about it. This madam seems to be a very
Yeah,
big.
madam, yes.
Madam is quite a character. Let me tell you, real.
Yeah, she has given that.
You can imagine, we can imagine actually how that madam looks like.
मुझे पता क्या लगा, मुझे वो मूवीज में होता है ना, and all that, वो कोलकाता के बाय लेन्स, वो डार्क लेन्स, मुझे कुछ वो फीलिंग आई. एंड देन समबडी सिटिंग, आई नो, आई रेड सम बुक एंड उसमें वो वैसी मैडम थी, एंड इसी टाइप का मैडम, द वे शी वाज डिस्क्राइबिंग सम नॉवेल ऑफ दिस काइंड आई हैड रेड, एंड दिस नॉवेल इज आल्सो लाइक दैट, कि this madam seems to be a very important part of that.
She's a very one of the central characters in my book.
हाँ, वो तो लग रहा है, वो तो लग रहा है. And this poor guy, she's going to उसको sandwich कर दिया.
उसका तो हो गया, उसका कल्याण हो गया. Now
उसका हो गया. Poor guy.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks so much.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Now
much.
I'll take Kirti. I'll take Kirti on stage. Yeah, hi Kirti. Just a moment. Yeah. So yes, start with your whatever book you have got right now. Just pick up some page and just read.
Sure. Yes. So, good evening to one and all. I will be reading 2-3 poems from my book, Where the Moon Meets the Sun. So, my book has themes mostly on self-love or some social issues or love. So, here we go. First one is about unrequited love. So, the poem title is You. This Saturday, earlier this morning, I woke up to run for the half day's work. I knew I was running late, doing the chores and calming the inside chaos of the bygone week. Got dressed up and was almost ready to leave, and something pinched my feet. It was a black clip lying on the edge of the dining table, the place where you love to get dressed. I turned around to see. The corners you made tidy got cobwebs. Your scent is still trapped in my pillows, with my blanket smelling of you. Everything I feel reminds me of you. My clean bed sheets will still crave for your fallen hair. Those clear desks waiting for your nail polish to spill. But me, my heart, it can only pray for your happiness. My eyes, they are just searching for your smile to come back. It's been 3 years, but I'm willing to wait all my life for you. You.
Lovely, lovely.
Nice.
Thank you.
Something more.
Yeah, you can go on more.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So my next poem is on self-love. So loving yourself is a beautiful tragedy. Most days you are your own sunshine, your own colors of rainbow. With all things pretty, you have to watch your own storms. You cannot ignore your negative emotions, the harsh winds and the soft breezes. The two together create your journey worthwhile. Yeah,
Lovely,
that's
lovely. In fact, the book title is also very interesting. The Moon Meets the Sun.
right. So
That's really
it's like where the black meets the white, the
yeah.
darkness meets the light. So we as humans have both the emotions. Like we cannot ignore one and
Yeah.
just embrace the other. So yeah,
Great, great, great. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Very
Kirti, for this.
nice.
I have one more. I have one more.
Yeah, please.
So this one is written on a social issue. So it goes like the poem title is My School Friends.
My
My
school
parents
friend.
my
Yes.
school friends with
Okay.
which ends with a question mark. My parents gave me a pen, they snatched it. My parents gave me a tiffin, they stole it, they ate it. When I spoke against, they threatened me. Oh, poor girl, just look at your 4 eyes. 3 days, you eat this, and 3 days it will be our dime. Okay, fine. My parents brought me a book to do my homework. They stole it and wrote their name on it. While I got punished for something I always finished. Look at that miserable cutie. Their sickening eyes smiled. You are best at your art. You're an incredible artist. Just believe in yourself. My mom always taught. The girl who stole my pens, she kicked me on my stomach. When she was accused of the things she done, they took me to the school terrace, threatening to push me down. They said, tomorrow come to the school wearing your mom's nightgown or we'll tear your uniform. They said. They laughed at my fear-stricken eyes, as if my pain gave them the best happiness in life. Writing was my only form of art, but all I could write was a final note of suicide. I am tired of being your clown while slitting my wrist down. This was on bullying.
Beautiful,
Very,
beautiful.
very nice.
Very
Very
nice.
nice. So, Kirti, you are from which place? Which city?
I'm from Mumbai.
Mumbai. Kirti contacted us on Instagram. So she wanted to,
Okay,
participate. So I think that's something very good. So therefore,
beautiful.
you have diverse some young budding authors and some very
Yeah,
experienced
if he's
authors.
writing from the age of
So,
19, it means a
yeah,
lot. So, as a
absolutely.
career, you do dabble into media and journalism.
Yes,
What do you do as a career?
I'm a content writer.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kirti.
Thank you so much.
So, Pragya, are you there? Yes. Yeah. Now, I really want to listen. Interesting
Okay.
of yours. Yes.
Yeah. So this is my book. This is the cover. So the book is actually a thriller come romance. So
Okay.
I won't be going into the thriller part, but I'll be narrating the first date that my characters have. So they are like interracial couple. Mark is a half British, half American guy, and our Shipra is a Indian girl. So it's like they're on their first date. And yeah, one thing more, my book is, I mean, it's not an autobiography, but the frame of the family is based on my family. So whoever is reading the book, they're thinking that it's my story. It's not. But yeah, this part is a little bit inspired.
Okay.
So, okay, so they're on their first date, and this guy asks, what about Indian girls? I've heard they are nice. They make very good homemakers. Mark cuts into her pensive thoughts. Oh, yes, my mother's generation in India made very good housewives. They were educated, smart, broad minded, and modern in their outlook, yet traditional enough not to question their role in the society. They were happy with their responsibilities as a stay at home mothers. Thankfully, women now are fighting against the patriarchy in India and trying to make a mark in the world. Shipra said passionately, but had to stop when the waiter came over with their dinner. So I won't find a docile young woman in India anymore, Mark asked. Oh, you can, there are all kind of people in the world, but would you really want that kind of a wife? Depends, Mark shrugged his broad shoulders. If she stays at home, gives me 5, 6 kids, cooks for the family and washes my feet when I get back home, I think that would make me really happy. Wash your feet? What? Are you serious? Shipra asked, horrified. Then, as Mark burst out laughing, no, you're not. You're laughing at me again. She threw her napkin at him. You should have seen your face. He wiped his eyes with the same napkin she had thrown at him and tried to control his mirth. Oh, you are so mean. So the date went well, and she was getting a very good feeling of well-being after a long time. By the end of the night, she felt a little tipsy, and once when she couldn't seem to control her giggles, she realized she was done for the day and told Mark it was time she went home. Mark swiftly paid the bill and gestured something to Steve. Once they were outside, the car was warm and waiting for them right in front of the restaurant. Mark made sure she was comfortable before rounding the car and sitting beside her. When they reached Shipra's sister's house, he got down and, like a true gentleman, saw her to her door. May I kiss you good night? He asked, half jokingly, half expectantly. No, good girls don't kiss on their first dates. Shipra slurred. Oh, why not? He asked. Because they're good. She shrugged, as if that explained it all. So when do they kiss? They kiss after marriage. She replied. Oh, that doesn't sound fair, Mark grumbled. Good girls marry good guys, they kiss, have good kids, and then they die. She threw her hands in the air to emphasize and almost toppled over. Wow, I hope the dying comes much later. Mark put his hand around her waist quickly, lest she toppled over and fell. Yes, yes, very much later, she agreed. So no kiss? No. Good girls don't kiss. Her sister has chosen that very moment to open the front door and caught the last line. Shipra looked at her sister, wagged her finger in front of her face and repeated, good girls don't kiss. Shoot, Mark had never imagined he could be embarrassed at his age. Shipra went in and up the stairs without giving them another glance, while he and Chitra looked at her retreating form. Chitra tried unsuccessfully to hide her grin and nodded at Mark. She's a good girl.
Good one.
That's how the book title came, huh?
Yes, yes.
I was
So that's
curious
why I
to know
chose the name.
behind this, yeah, how this book title came.
So basically the story goes where Mark is under attack of some kind and they don't know the reason why. And whenever he is getting attacked, Shipra somehow is getting caught in the crossfire. So that's how the meeting happens and the attraction happens. So it's like comedy, romance, thrill, everything is there.
So how does it come in with your family? Like you said earlier that this was something related to your life.
Okay.
So how does
So Shipra is the youngest daughter in a family of 3 girls. Me too. So my elder sisters, they have like 3 kids amongst themselves. So even Shipra has like 3 nieces and nephews. So and whoever knows me well, when they have read the book, they have actually said that it seemed like you 3 sisters were sitting and actually talking. So I have framed the whole story around the like the characters are based on my family, but yeah, the story is quite different. I wish it was same. I could meet some Mark in my life too, but
oh,
but it's too big a risk. Like I don't want to risk my life to meet a person.
why? You should enjoy that also, since you have
No,
framed
Shipra
that.
was lucky. She did not die. I am the kind of person who will go and die. So it's better I don't meet someone in that situation. I have bad luck when it comes to like, getting into trouble. So yeah.
Nice one.
Interesting. Okay, thank you so much, Pragya. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Now I'll invite Dr. Ruby Gupta. Hi, Dr. Ruby.
Hi, Aparna.
Yeah, so all ears to your book.
Yeah, so I don't know where to start because I've written 9 books. So it's difficult for me to pick one. It's like picking one child over the others. And
Wow.
so brief that fiction as well as non-fiction. And in non-fiction, I've written academic books as well. But of course, we are more interested in fiction, that is stories. And my forte is crime fiction, but actually my forte is mystery. So I began with writing stories, and actually I began as a journalist, and then wrote articles and wrote short stories, which was published in an anthology. And then my forte being mystery, I really wanted to find out the meaning of existence. Why are we born? What is the purpose of life? So this is my first novel, Maya, and this is very close to my heart because I tried to understand the meaning of life, and I dabbled in various spiritual practices, took Diksha from various organizations. And is it okay if I read the back blurb so you'll get an idea of what this book is about? So this being my first novel, and it's I call it a mystery. It is a spiritual mystery, an attempt to understand the mystery of life. So, but based in Hindu philosophy. So I'm reading the back blurb. Maya Eludes. The name of the book is Maya, a novel. And the cover, I have designed this cover. This center, if you can see this weird statue, I was a journalist and I went and photographed this statue, which is known as the
Wow.
Rudra Shiva statue in the interiors of Chhattisgarh. So during my journalistic, and then I've superimposed it into the Bauli, which is a historical building in Lucknow. So
Okay.
this is that I have designed. So Maya is to one of the basic themes of Hindu philosophy, that this world is nothing but an illusion. The protagonist, now please notice all my protagonists are male. The protagonist, Viren, travels from India to the US and back to the newly formed state of Chhattisgarh.
Dr. Ruby, just too sorry for there's some we're not able to hear you clearly.
Okay,
Really
okay.
disturbance
Can you
है
hear?
जो है.
थोड़ा
Is,
सा hear you.
is it okay now?
Now it's okay.
Is it better now?
Your
Okay.
voice is cracking a bit. Your voice is cracking.
Is it because of the fan? Is it okay now?
You can.
Much better, much better.
Is it better?
Yeah.
You need to move your camera. It's actually like this. Angle itself. Yeah. Now it's fine.
But is my voice audible?
Now it's clear. Now it's clear.
Okay, I think I need to move near. Now it's okay.
Yeah.
So
Still
not clear.
maybe it's breaking. Actually, your voice is cracking. So
Is it okay now?
Now I think it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so it seems I need to hold the phone. Okay, so here goes. Maya alludes to one of the basic themes of Hindu philosophy. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. That this world is nothing but an illusion. The protagonist, Viren, travels from India to the US and back to the newly formed state of Chhattisgarh in India. His journey becomes an unconscious journey into the self, a quest to understand the existential angst. This is the larger connotation of the title. Maya is also the name of one of the central characters. Viren arrives in Raipur, the capital of Chhattisgarh, after receiving news of his uncle's death. This forced sabbatical from his high pressure job as a software developer in Sunnyvale, California, propels him on a journey where he confronts his painful past. His mother had committed suicide, and he is estranged from his father. Here, in the backwaters of India, he finds himself juxtaposed between two different worlds and two different eras. In the midst of this, Viren meets a beautiful, mysterious woman, Maya, who stays alone in a dilapidated fort in the middle of nowhere. And from here, the novel takes off, and it's a story about Viren, who is a modern young man, and he dabbles into Indian spirituality and gets a taste of achieving, I would say, a higher version of his own self. So that's what this novel is about. And then after dabbling into Indian spirituality and stuff like that, I went to my favorite genre, which is crime fiction. And I wrote, so I wrote murder mysteries. And it is for the murder mysteries that I was honored at the International Agatha Christie Festival, because my style of writing is like that of Agatha Christie. All the Christie tropes of multiple suspects and cryptic clues and red herrings and the proverbial twist in the tail and a puzzle like mystery, where you have to solve it, and an intellectual detective I have like Poirot. And my detective is Professor Shantanu Bose. He's a world-renowned nano expert and a professor Dean of Research and Development and associated with the Ministry of Science and Technology in India. And he's an amateur detective. So he goes on to solve three mysteries, and three of my novels are as part of a series which began with this novel, which is A Degree in Death, which is based in Dehradun, in which a series of murders happen in an engineering college. And I happen to be a professor and HOD in that engineering college.
Wow.
and it is sadly enough based on a real incident which happened, a tragic incident actually. And I was the chief warden at that point of time, along with being professor and HOD. A young boy had committed suicide by hanging himself, and I was in the thick of it, seeing the panchnama being done and stuff like that. I talked to the SHO and all those things. It was really, really tragic. But my, mind, crooked mind, thought that supposing he had been murdered and hanged to make it look like murder, to make it look like suicide, what would be the story? And from there, this novel begins, A Degree in Death, where several murders take place on the road to Missouri. But it's not a serial killer novel, because I generally write complex plots. And what happens in this novel is there is a geopolitical angle to the entire novel involving Tibet and China, because there is a huge Tibetan population in Dehradun where I stay, and this novel is based. So this is, the first Shantanu Bose mystery, and this was longlisted for the Crossword Award as well. And then I wrote this novel, which is No Illusions in Xanadu, in which the topmost Bollywood star is found murdered in his study on the night he throws a grand bash to commemorate 30 years of success in the Indian film industry. And Professor Shantanu Bose happens to be staying there, and he solves, and it has all the Mumbai masala, glitz and glamour and adultery and backstabbing and all those kind of things. So this is the book which got me the Agatha Christie honor, because they read this novel and felt it is in the classic Agatha Christie mold of a puzzle. So this is that book. And then the current one, which you were wondering whether you're pronouncing it correctly or not. This is my ninth book, and this is an espionage thriller which spans continents, USA and China, and it's based 90% on true events, and it's being adapted to screen by Almighty Motion Picture, and this was launched in England. So this is inspired. In fact, all my novels are inspired by true events, and this is based on the true facts of the mysterious deaths of several, around 12 to 13 Indian nuclear scientists and defense personnel who were found dead under mysterious circumstances.
Can you read
So,
out few pages for us, especially the
uh,
Agatha Christie ones? Yeah, that book. We would like to have that book.
which one? The No Illusions one or
Yes,
the
yes,
Lee Seng
yeah.
Pagoda?
No, the earlier one.
No Illusions.
Yeah, this one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'll read the back blurb because that's the easiest to read. I'm holding this with my hand,
Okay.
the phone.
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Got it. Got it.
So, yeah. So, when the devilishly handsome, legendary Bollywood superstar Rajveer Kapoor is found dead in the 30th floor study of his swanky new home, Xanadu, the entire country is aghast. Barely hours before his death, Xanadu had been teeming with the pick of the country's elite, hotshot celebrities, business magnates, and close friends and family of the iconic actor, all of whom had come together for the grandest party Mumbai had ever seen. Investigations reveal that Rajveer Kapoor was murdered, and now everyone is a suspect. Professor Shantanu Bose, eminent nano expert and part time sleuth, a house guest at the time, is willy nilly forced to join the investigation. He finds himself in an alien world of the glitterati and their idiosyncrasies, where murky secrets are revealed and facts muddled. As Shantanu struggles to piece together the puzzle amidst the confusing moral codes adopted by the people of this starry realm, glamorous Mumbai seduces him, and he finds himself irresistibly attracted to the enchanting prime suspect. Will the professor manage the tightrope walk between emotions and justice? So, this is
Okay.
what the novel is about.
Interesting.
Wonderful,
Interesting.
wonderful.
So thank you so much, Dr. Ruby Gupta.
My pleasure.
And now over to Preeti. Now you will discuss about that book, Becoming. So I think many
Yeah.
of us have, must have read it or maybe watched that Netflix film also on this same on Becoming, which is written by Michelle Obama. So over to you, Preeti.
Thank you, Aparna. And I start with a wonderful quote. She says, "There is no limit to what we as women can achieve." So this is the First Lady's most important quote. And I think since we are talking about women emancipation, she's one very good example of this. So, like this book, Becoming, has been a very interesting book where she tells us she was an African American first lady and how she has come from her roots. She's given voice to what all she has seen because it was a very modest kind of a her youth and everything, like nothing of that glitterati sort of a thing which she had. And I think most of you might have read that book and must have come across this that she seems to be very normal sort of a person. There's nothing assuming kind or that she's a hi-fi person. It was a chance meeting with Barack Obama that brought them together because she graduated from Princeton and then went to Harvard Law School and then started working in that as an attorney in a firm. So there she came across him. And I would like to know from all of you, whoever has read Becoming, how did you find it? And as a person, what do you feel about her? A little, whoever has read about Becoming, we would like to know more. Uh, can I get to you, Dipti? I think, how do you feel about this book?
I had read this book, I think, about a number of years back. And then I went through it all over again just to refresh my
Right.
memory. I think I was impressed with it then. And my
Absolutely.
second reading, I think I was even more impressed because this woman, She's an African American woman coming from actually a poor background, not even a
Poor
normal
background, right?
poor
Absolutely
background,
modest.
very
Absolutely.
modest background, and
Hmm.
she has principles. She knows what she wants to
Exactly.
achieve. Yes, and she's very confident, but she's also very very aware of what the world thinks. She does not want to put a step wrong, and so she says, "Am I good enough? Am I good enough?" And it is only at the very
Right.
end, she realizes, yes, she is good enough, and she strives to do that for the rest of the world. She wants to make all women good enough. She wants to bring out their confidence.
True,
So
true, true,
she's
true.
very, very
Uh,
inspiring kind of person. I thoroughly love that about her, that she's such a normal person, and yet she comes out as such an inspirational, a diva in her
right.
own way, in her own way. Especially when she's trying to juggle family and work.
Family and the political, and how she's at the back of the husband, how she during his campaigning, how she manages the kids alone. That is one.
Absolutely.
And how she is, I mean, the White House life also is a very difficult life. It is all throughout, they have to be guarded. Her children, she wants
Yes,
them to be normal, but still there are protocols which they have to.
absolutely.
That small little excerpt where the kids want to eat an ice cream, I just love that part.
Oh,
That
yes,
how it was so beautifully portrayed. And I think with every sort of a celebrity, I think this happens,
it does
because
happen.
you want a normal life, but since you are in the public eye, I think it becomes quite difficult to be normal. We are seeing this in the case of monarchy also in the UK. And
Yeah,
this, they all want to, they are all normal, but since they are public figures, I think it becomes very difficult for them. It's it's one of, I think I resonated a lot with this book, because we all have a middle class upbringing, and I think she has done a marvelous job with it.
yes.
What are your views, Anupma? Have you gone through this book?
I feel more than the journey, the way she has. I mean, she when he contested, he was just a first-time senator, and then he aimed for the
Right.
big job. She was earning fabulously. She had a better career than him,
Than him,
and
right.
putting everything. Uh, I mean, leaving everything up and just going and believing in his dreams and embracing what his goals were as hers. It must have been extremely difficult, but
I
she did
know.
it with such style, such panache. I think that essence is what is very very attractive for me. What
Yeah,
made her? I mean, if it is like a first time black senator wants to aim for the biggest job in the country, what are the odds? They've never had a black president yet,
right.
and she's doing so fabulously well as a lawyer, and she has to not only has she believes and she just approves herself. Luckily she had the mother to be with her constantly to
Right,
support
right.
her, but it is a herculean job to do so much and with such style. I think she's been a great phenomenal
Superb.
lady.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Woman of substance. We can call her a woman of substance.
Yeah,
Exactly the way,
absolutely,
and the way
absolutely.
she's come out of it so beautifully. It was just marvelous. I mean, you don't see any kind of airs. The way she's portrayed in that book, there's no airs. That last line, I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, I was just impressed by that when she says, "I can make my toast myself and I can sit and eat it."
Yes.
That was the whole crux of it,
Yeah.
which sort of got to UK. Yes, even she's the kind who wants to put her feet up, eat that
Just
toast, take that
yes.
toast, and be normal. What over to you, Pragya? What are your views about Michelle
Well,
Obama?
I actually read the book yesterday because it was a
Wow,
very short notice and I had to finish it. So two things were like that resonated with me was the first thing that she said, that you have to define yourself, otherwise people are going to inaccurately define you.
you
That
very
is
nice. Yeah,
such a true thing, that if you don't go out and put your story, you don't tell people about yourself, others are going to paint a very different picture, which might not be true. So that was one thing that actually, I mean, I felt it. Second was that she has very elegantly portrayed the whole life, that the whole life is about becoming something. In the first
True,
part,
true.
she's becoming herself. She's doing everything for herself. In the second part, she is getting married. She is taking care of the married life. She's becoming us, like together. She's building a home with someone. There are so many things that happens. They're fighting in between. They're having misunderstandings and everything, but they're getting through that part. Once you have achieved that, then you're doing something for the world. You're becoming like the whole world. So becoming something is a process. It gradually happens. It's not like a magical wand is being used and you're just turning into the first lady from a middle class girl. You have to actually progress and do things to achieve that. So those two things are like everyday's story. It's like your and my story. We come from the middle class families. We could have achieved something so great. So
The
yeah,
metamorphosis of the chrysalis, actually.
right,
Yeah,
right, exactly.
absolutely. I mean, we all resonated with her. Once you read
Yeah,
this book, you want to reread this book. And why?
exactly.
Because
Yeah,
every time you find that there's something more to it. Like
right.
what she has, it's nothing. Like even they have the similar kinds. They have those couple tips. They have everything. The
Yeah.
children, the teenage children who want to do as they wish. And as a mother, she
Mhm.
sees what they are doing and all that. She is equally protective. But see,
Right,
the way she has done it so gracefully, it is
right.
a
Yeah.
wonderful way.
I mean, she has never tried to, glorify herself. As a kid, she
Exactly.
has used the word that kids are selfish. They think about themselves because that is the time when they have to grow. And
Right.
then as she progresses towards being a mother and then to the first lady, how her circle starts increasing for the people who you care about. So yeah, that was
Exactly.
very
There
impressive.
was, I really like that one place where she tells the queen those sandals which were troubling her, and she removes those
Mhm.
sandals, and that is a very
Yeah,
simple sort of a gesture, because we all would feel the same. If our feet are aching, definitely we'll try to remove those sandals and sit in a peaceful fashion. And
right,
she thinks she may have broken the protocol, but see, it was such a simple gesture, but all of it was that it was taken so nicely. Even the queen
right,
felt the same,
Oh,
it
yes.
was that
right,
good.
right. Yeah,
So it was fun also to read that part, that okay, they're equally as normal as we people are.
exactly. Yeah.
So over to you, Dr. Ruby. What are your views about this book?
Well, definitely, this is an excellent book, and I think everything possible about the book has already been said by my fellow panelists. And one thing that I would like to draw everybody's attention is the fact that patriarchy is alive and kicking everywhere. Michelle Obama could not escape it either. So you see,
Right.
it is her gender which has defined her life. Because she was of the female gender, she had to give in to Obama's dreams. She was equally qualified. She was a Harvard educated lawyer. And even for the family, I mean, Barack was out and doing whatever he was good at. And she was back home alone, battling, kind of feeling low and taking care of the two girls and generally crushing her dreams and then trying to build her life around Barack, right? So I faced a lot of low moments, and she's talked about it in her show with Oprah. And she says, marriage for many, many years, she was very, very depressed. She's talked about the fact that she was hugely depressed for many, many years. And those were the years when she was alone and bringing up her girls because Barack was not around. So we must understand this entire world is unfairly tilted in favor of the male gender. Whether it is America or whether it is India or whether it is England, you go anywhere, you are defined by your gender. And Michelle could not rise above it. So I think this thing, we need to take cognizance of it, and we need to understand that, look, a woman can have it all, but not all at the same time. So this is something which we need to mull over, I think.
Yeah,
As you
very
said,
good
Dr.
point.
Ruby Gupta, yes, a woman cannot have everything, but what we can do is raise strong daughters who will change the templates and who will have better templates than what we've had, and hopefully they can have it all at the same time rather than one a piecemeal enjoyment of life.
A very valid point, Anupama. But I think, because I teach in the Indian Military Academy, and I teach the future
Oh.
male officers of the country, and let me tell you, the daughters we are raising right, but it's the sons we are not raising right. We are
Yes,
not.
yes.
Exactly.
Our
Yeah,
sons grow up
absolutely.
with this sense of entitlement. They feel they
Yeah.
are entitled from the moment they are born. They have this sense of entitlement, which no
Right,
woman
right.
has. No girl grows up with a sense of entitlement. She has to fight every bit of the way.
Right.
Whereas the men, they are like, oh, I'm entitled to everything this world has to offer. So we need to raise our sons. Daughters, anyways, are doing very good, and they can manage in every situation. But it's the sons who are not able to take and accept these daughters whom we are
Uh,
raising. This is what I
as
feel.
you As you rightly said, I always end my pieces, women-centric pieces. Uh, raise your sons right, and your daughters ready to fight. That's the only way the society will change.
Correct, correct,
Okay.
Absolutely
Absolutely,
correct.
absolutely. Yes, and if I
Yeah,
could just add there, Dr. Ruby, I think if you are teaching in IMA, you are actually teaching some of the most, the people who are going to turn into proper gentlemen. People who know
that's
how to
true.
treat women right. Because I'm an army daughter and an army wife myself, and I know that in the
Likewise.
Indian Army, yeah, in the services, you find the best gentlemen cadets.
True,
So I think
true,
those are the people who actually can change the world in the way they treat women, in the way they
true,
place women
Absolutely.
alongside or even above themselves.
true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah, because even like she's saying about the IMA, and since you might be now teaching both the genders, so there was a fight for that also to enter that IMA
Very
world now.
true, very true.
Yes. Yes.
Because it was not easy. Like she's quoted Michelle Obama, all right, but for Indian Army, also our girls were not asked to come into the combat. They had to struggle to enter this place.
Right.
not
Today,
not
every
only not only that, they were not given promotions. So many officers, women officers, had to go, and the Supreme Court rapped the Indian Army on the knuckles that no, you have to give the promotion to them because they are equally qualified. So you see, at every step of the way, you have to fight
Yes.
patriarchy and
you
Yes.
misogyny,
have to fight.
whether you are
Yes,
an
true,
officer
true.
or whether you are whatever. So
Yes,
this situation is there. Women
and
officers
Article
have faced this.
I
yes,
think
and
only
Article
now
I
they're
read
now
was
allowed. They're now allowed into combat zones. I think after a
yes,
fight, right?
Now they have started in NDA also. I mean, I remember when I was in 12th, I so wanted to join army because I was into taekwondo. I was a national player in judo. So I was all set, all ready to enter army. But that time a girl could only enter army after doing graduation. And as it happens, after graduation, parents are like, no, get a job, get married.
Yes.
So, I mean, I was so happy when they said that in India now even the girls can go after 12th itself. I was like,
True,
I wish
true.
it had happened in my time.
I know.
Yes, yes. Change is coming, and
change
let's
is
hope for
coming.
the best.
Yeah, and I think in every field, every sphere, every career path, now women are at the helm of affairs. Whether it
Yeah.
is the army or the air force, or whatever the services, the other places also, whichever we see. So I think
Hmm.
every place they are taking the step and they're coming forward. And I
Yes.
think wherever, even education, academics, where you never have heard of a woman, we see they are entering that arena and doing, and I think they're doing a marvelous job everywhere wherever women are entering. I mean, we may have been the weaker part, but uh, we've never been weak. The minute you get the opportunity, I don't think you can do anything bad about it. Women are strong, and that is what she has advocated in the book. That if you get out of your comfort zone, you can soar. You just need to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and then you soar.
Yes.
Now over to you, Akanksha. Can you give your views about this book?
अभी बहुत पढ़ी नहीं है मैंने पूरी बुक कंप्लीट नहीं करी बट आई विश मैं जल्दी इसे कंप्लीट करूंगी बट आई इंस्पायर्ड हर लेडी एंड हर थॉट्स एंड हर सिंप्लिसिटी as a president wife and as a lawyer, a great lawyer and mother of 2 daughters, तो जो भी उन्होंने अचीव किया और जो सिंप्लिसिटी के साथ वो रही जस्ट लाइक नॉर्मल वुमेन, तो वो मुझे बहुत इंस्पायर किया.
Wonderful, wonderful. So
And one thing,
I
this
think
is the sorry, yeah, please.
no, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
And जब आप सब लोग ये डिस्कस कर रहे थे तो दिस इज अ बिटर ट्रुथ ऑफ आवर सोसाइटी दैट ऐसा लगता है मुझे कि जैसे कि अगर विमेन्स नहीं अपना कैरियर कुछ बना पा रहे हैं तो हम लोग कहते हैं कि शादी करो, बट अगर कुछ मेल्स नहीं कैरियर बना रहे हैं तो हम लोग उनको कैरियर के लिए वेट करते हैं 30 ईयर 35 40, बट अगर विमेन्स नहीं कर पा रही है तो पेरेंट्स गेट मैरिड. तो आई थॉट कि हम विमेन्स को ही इसका इसमें बढ़ चढ़ कर हिस्सा लेना चाहिए एंड एवरी डॉटर्स एंड आने वाले अपने खुद के बच्चों को दूसरों के बच्चों को ये सिखाना चाहिए कि फर्स्ट चूज कैरियर देन गेट मैरिड.
True.
Absolutely, it's so true. So this book has inspired, I think, everybody, and it has been a wonderful discussion, a wonderful evening, hearing about all of your books, about all the excerpts. I think it's been a bit spooky, a bit humorous, a bit of every kind. I mean, we have all kind of people on our show today. The would-be Agatha Christie's, the spooks, everything is there, the humor, and I think it's been a marvelous evening. I've enjoyed thoroughly, and thank you each one for giving so much of an insight about your books and about this book. So now the time has come where we are going to wrap up this evening, a wonderful evening. Over to you, Aparna. Thank you so much, everyone.
Indeed, a wonderful evening. I think we should all clap for ourselves. It was wonderful hearing your thoughts, hearing about your books, and of course, the becoming thing. Actually, we all want to become something or the other. So it was such a good discussion we had. And thank you, everyone, for taking out time and sharing your things over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aparna.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you for
Wonderful
having
meeting
us
everybody.
over, and best wishes to all of you. May you all continue to rock and keep inspiring others and keep becoming the best versions of yourselves.
Yeah.
Go rock.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Happy New
Aparna,
Year.
for inviting, and Preeti
Bye.
for so nicely conducting the discussion.
Thank you.
And all my
Thank you so
fellow
much.
panelists, I'm enriched after today's evening listening to so many different viewpoints and about different plots. Thank you for being together.
Thank
So
you.
next
Thank you
book is
so
on
much.
Thank you.
the
Thank you so
offing now.
much.
It seems another Agatha Christie novel is on the cards now.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Thank you all so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.
Good night.
Bye bye.
Good night.